How's it going, YouTube? FirePhoenixKing here today, and today I have a very special guest with me. Today we're gonna do a different kind of video on this channel. We're gonna go ahead and talk more about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which you guys seem to like after I made the Sora video. But today, a lot of you really like Geno, and I thought that I could bring someone over here to kind of talk about Geno and this very special guest. I'm very honored that he's on this channel, but Mr. PapaGenos, he's here.
Hey everybody.
And so PapaGenos, this video is mostly gonna be kind of like a video interviewing him in terms of Geno, because I'm very interested in Geno, but as a I'm not too knowledgeable about why Geno is one of the picks.
Gotcha.
But I want to, just kind of talk to you about, a lot of what's going on. And you are, first of all, congratulations. Over 21,000 subscribers now, which is actually really, really big.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been crazy.
That's really awesome. Every time I see a Nintendo content creator, doing very well and just really being fun, because you can tell when someone's just putting out content just to put out, or putting out content because they're actually passionate and they want to talk about a certain topic. And that's you. When I saw these when I started to see your videos, it was like, man, this guy is literally like, you can almost feel it, like he's talking from the heart. He's going
Thank
at
you.
it. Which I'll just jump right into it. And and like I was saying at the beginning, I'm not going to play the who is Geno card, but I'll say that I know of Geno, but I don't know about him. And so the thing is that my number one question, and as many other people might think, why Geno? Like, why, like, you constantly say, you want Geno, but could you kind of give us like a little background, like your version of who Geno is, and why is he so important as to, for you as I guess as a fan?
Sure. Yeah. So first off, just who Geno is, if you're totally in the dark. He's a character from a game from 1996, Super Mario RPG. He was one of the main characters, one of the playable characters, one of the characters in your party. It's an RPG game. It was the first RPG game that featured like the Mario characters, and he was just kind of the he's a major part of the story. He pushes the story forward. You're Mario in the game, but you're kind of helping Geno on his quest. So he's definitely a breakout character in that way. Mario RPG was very early on in the Mario series, so to have a game that only has 5 characters in the party, to have a character that wasn't a known Mario character at the time when there wasn't that many Mario games, definitely stuck with a lot of early Mario fans. He was just a character that was pretty big in that game, and again, in the early days of Mario, this is like right after Yoshi's only been out for a few years, I'll put it that way. Wario is only being invented a few years earlier. So a lot of people thought, the characters from Mario RPG, especially the playable ones, would become staple Mario characters. And they didn't, unfortunately. Mostly because Square and Nintendo fell apart in the Super NES days, or right after the Super NES days, when they moved on to the N64. And so characters like Geno kind of got left behind, and so there's just always been this fan push to get some of those characters back into Mario. Mario has a nice diverse cast of characters at this point, but back in the day it was a little lacking in characterization anyway. This was before there were multiple Mario Kart games, before there was tons of Mario Party games, stuff like that. So it was a big moment for a lot of fans to have some more Mario characters, especially ones with personality, which obviously an RPG game tends to have more personality than a side-scrolling platformer game, which was mostly what the Mario games were. So yeah, Geno just stuck with a lot of people. Square went away from Nintendo, and then Square's slowly come back to Nintendo over the years, and Super Smash Bros. Has always been seen as a series where getting characters in the game kind of gets them a spot sort of in the gaming history or something. They've been like acknowledged as an important character or something like that. So that's really where the Geno fan base and the whole push to get Geno in Smash started, was this desire to get that character back acknowledged by Nintendo again.
And that's really good, you know, because someone like me, and like I said, I'm just not trying to sound like, oh, like I don't know who Geno is, but you know, someone like me, you know, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've heard of that game that you're talking about, but unfortunately I'm one of the few that have not played it. And
there's actually quite a bit of people who haven't. It actually was never released in Europe until rather recently. It wasn't released initially back in the Super NES days, and even back in the Super Nintendo days, RPGs, I mean, there's some great RPGs on the Super Nintendo. Everybody knows that. Square has some amazing games there. But a lot of those games were played retroactively, I feel like, which is part of the reason why, if you know anything about like game collecting, Square RPGs or RPGs in general on Super NES are usually really expensive because there's not that many like copies of them printed, because they really didn't sell that well back in the day. It was really retroactively that a lot of people got into those RPGs. So you're not that alone in missing Super Mario RPG. I think a lot of people did.
Yeah, and it was crazy because, you know, back in the Wii U days, they actually released it alongside the Virtual Console.
Yep.
And even then, I was going to pick it up because, you know, everyone's been praising the game, and you know, I'm pretty sure it's a great game, beautiful game. I've been watching your Let's Play of it, and it's really making me want to get it. I mean,
oh, awesome!
it's working, and that's the point of a Let's Play. You know, you're doing good,
right?
And so
it's an advertisement.
Yeah, there you go. And so, you know, I have no doubt. It's just I guess it's the matter of actually going and getting it. But you know, that actually, you know, that's great because, you know, one thing I try to tell the fans and a lot of comments, you know, I personally, it is in my opinion, I do not like to use the word deserve whenever I'm talking about a Smash character.
I get that.
Yeah, like I won't say like, oh, this character deserves. Like I feel like everyone would deserve it, but I do feel, giving that context that you gave me, you know, I would say that would definitely be a very good reason as to why fans are really expecting Geno to be in Smash. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you get a character and you get attached to it, you know, and all of a sudden, poop, it poofs away. It's like,
yeah,
what? It's like tearing your heart away. Like they just took a piece of your. So that right there is really cool. And so brings me to kind of like my next segue, which you were talking about the relationship between Square Enix and Nintendo. You know, Square Enix has lately been really you know, very encouraging of the Nintendo Switch, and they want to almost you know, put a lot of their content. But talking about Geno, in your opinion, what is it that you think that is going on there? Why do you think that they haven't struck in this deal yet? You know, what do you think is going on there in terms of the business side?
So you kind of hit the nail on the head, I think, with mentioning the business side and why we might not have Geno or haven't gotten him yet, or, you know, whatever you want to say about it. See, I think the biggest issue with Geno is that he's from a game from 1996. I don't know how much of a future Geno has. The hope from Geno fans is that his future is being a Super Smash Brothers character. You know, there's games like the F-Zero series, which really haven't. I think the biggest thing F-Zero's gotten in many years has been some tracks on Mario Kart, and then Captain Falcon in Smash. So I think the hope has always been to like kind of save the character by getting them in Smash. And so I think the issue is really, is he marketable as far as outside of Smash? I think Smash fans really want Geno. I think there's a lot of Nintendo fans that want Geno. But these are the type of fans I think who are going to, you know, they're going to buy Smash anyway. They're going to buy DLC anyway, whatever it is. So when Nintendo cuts a deal with another company like Square Enix, there's probably a bit of, okay, well, what can we get out of this, you know, beyond the like an actual just dollar figure that Nintendo pays them, or however the deal works. For instance, Square gave Nintendo Cloud. Now, Cloud isn't really known for being on Nintendo consoles. He's been in, I think, like a few of the Kingdom Hearts DS games, but, you know, he's not all over it. But we have a Final Fantasy VII remake coming out, you know, the remaster, or whatever they call it. So I think Square is like, oh, Nintendo, you want a Square character, you want somebody from Final Fantasy, why don't you go with Cloud? And then, you know, the upside to that is Cloud is now known to all of the Smash fans. Maybe younger fans get to know the character through Smash, and then when they release the Final Fantasy VII remake, Square makes money off of that too. So it's, there's that whole business side of it, and I don't know if Geno falls into place there. I would love for them to make a Mario RPG too. I would love for them to the Super NES Classic came out that had Mario RPG on it, so I'd love for them to find ways to push Geno or something like that, but I think that might be the biggest obstacle Geno has in his way.
Right, and which makes sense, and something that's kind of something I always try to tell when people come at me, well, like, oh, Geno's like the fan favorite, Geno is Sakurai's pick, because yeah, we've all heard him. This is a fact. Like, Sakurai wanted Geno, and I believe it was in Brawl, and that's a fact. And the thing is that I understand that, but like you said, I've also kind of come in every time I do like speculation videos, I try to provide facts in terms of what's been said, in terms of business relationships, just kind of not factual, but more leaning towards like, this is what's been said, so this is
realistic.
The expectation
being realistic.
And so the thing is with Geno is exactly that, and I've always told that, and sometimes fans just get hurt, and I really think it's not because they get hurt like, oh, you hurt me, like, it's more like they kind of know that too, so they tend to be like, they don't want to accept it. Like, because like the thing is like you said, like, realistically, Geno came from one game, and ever since then, he's made a couple cameos, but
he made some very, very small cameos.
But other than that, that's been it. And something I always tell everybody, I'm good at the end of the day, like I tell everybody, the game comes out, open arms. I don't care who's in it. I'm gonna get it. Of course I do I have my preferences, but
yeah, that's me too, man. I mean, like, I've wanted Geno since back in the Brawl days, or technically I've wanted Geno to get back into Mario since Mario RPG. So the '90s when I was a kid, when I didn't know he was ever going to leave. But once it became this thing of like this push to get him back in the Brawl days, I was right there with that. I was big on that and everything, and I've held through it the whole time. But yeah, I do understand the reality of what might happen. I've been disappointed in the past multiple times now. So I still love Smash. I'm still huge on Smash. I still have characters I love in Smash. I loved Smash when it was Smash 64. So, with 12 characters, I can love the game. With 70-something characters, I can love the game. If my absolute favorite doesn't get in, there's still, I still have a tough time picking a character at this point, because there's like 3 or 4 that I really like. I play Little Mac. That's my favorite, just to say it outright. Right. But yeah, there's so many characters. It's not like I can be disappointed with this game because of the characters at this point, even if my favorite doesn't get in.
Everyone is here.
yeah, exactly. There are so many people. It's hard to say someone isn't here. Right.
And so, I kind of also want to kind of bring us back a little bit and talk a little bit about the Grinch Leak. Because
go for it.
I feel like this is a little bit important in terms of whenever Geno was put into that banner. As soon as Geno was put into that banner, I actually was one of the ones that was so confused. I was like, what? Like, what? But what really threw me off was the chorus kids. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what?
But have you kept up with the Gamatsu leak for Smash 4?
I have not.
So the Gamatsu leak had a ton of characters we got in Smash 4. Mm-hmm. It guessed correctly at Wii Fit Trainer, which is basically an unguessable character. Before Wii Fit Trainer, you can't guess that.
Wow, that's good.
So it guessed that, but then it also had Chrom and Chorus Kids on it. And what we kind of found out later was that it was a real leak. It just was outdated, or at least that's the major assumption. Because Chrom, Sakurai came out and said he did plan to put Chrom in the game, but switched to Lucina and Robin for whatever reason. And that there is, I think in Smash Run on the 3DS, they have enemies, but the enemies are only from games that have characters, except for Rhythm Heaven. There's a Rhythm Heaven enemy. So that strongly implies that there was supposed to be a Rhythm Heaven character, and since the Gamatsu leak had Chorus Kids on it, that's kind of our one missing character from that. It's strongly believed that they were cut. So that's part of the reason why the Grinch Leak having them made it look like, well, we already got Chrom back. This is just filling out those characters that Sakurai worked on for Smash 4 and didn't finish. So that's why even something as weird as this bizarre character you wouldn't think would get in Smash being on that banner actually made it seem more credible, which is nuts.
Wow, that I didn't know that. Dang, that's poof, blew my mind.
Yeah, right. There were so many little things like that too with
That's
that leak that
crazy.
just made it seem like, man, this is probably gonna happen. But
That's crazy.
oh well.
Yeah, and so talking about the Geno and okay, so we're going back. You see the banner leak for the first time. You see Geno.
Yep.
Your exact reaction. What was it?
When I first saw the banner leak, I didn't know the whole backstory with it and everything. I think I saw it pretty early on. Like it had popped up maybe only a few hours before I saw it. To actually, I ended up going to bed early the night before just by chance. I was like really tired, so I ended up waking up really early. And the banner leak happened. I'm on Eastern time, and it was like in the middle of the night, in the early morning, when that like happened. And I think I was up maybe at like 5, 6 a.m. and I saw it. I think it was on Smashboards, and I mean, my first reaction was like any other leak. I just kind of looked at it and was like, oh yeah, maybe it's true, maybe not. I don't know. It's a blurry image. Image leaks. I'm no image expert, so I kind of just take them in stride and wait for someone more knowledgeable than me to, go further into them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I saw Geno on it, and any leak with Geno, I'm always like, cool, if this one's true, whatever. But, this was also, I think, only like a week after there was like, I don't know if you remember Sassy Geno. There was like this image of Geno with his head tilted back.
Yeah.
It seemed pretty real for a while, and then people finally debunked it. So I was cautious of any Geno image leak. I was like, whatever. And then I started reading like, well, this is what's going on with this leak, and where did it come from? And it could, there's like a name attached to it, and there's a company attached to it, and there's just bizarre things we're finding out. Like, oh wait, it looks like there's blueprints for what it's supposed to be made for, and it's this obscure piece of promotional material that seems real, and there's stuff for the Grinch movie in it, and then all this stuff started piling up, and I was like, oh man, this might be something.
Right.
It was never really the image that made me go, wow, this is it, or the characters on it, though that didn't hurt it.
Right.
It was all that other stuff. So after that stuff came out, I was like, okay, well, I guess I got to make a video on this, and I did, and then went from there.
and yeah, you're not alone. I mean, the rest of the Nintendo content creators also did the same thing,
Yep.
And it's weird because I don't want to say that it didn't fool me, because I don't want to sound like, oh yeah, it didn't fool me. but I want to say that I was highly skeptical, even when all these videos starting showing like yours and everybody else's. Like, it was crazy because I was still like, there's something weird about that banner. And it wasn't like I was like, it's fake. I was mostly thinking like, I think some of those characters are real, it's just not all of them. And so then Vergeben comes out a couple of days before, and he says, it's fake, guys, those are assist trophies. So on that time, what was your thinking? Were you in a fight like oh man, like
I was not. So my stance on it when it was like in the middle of everything was, so it came out, and I looked at it, and whatever, I looked into it, wasn't sure. Then the more I learned about it, the more it started piling up, and then things started happening with it that were like things that couldn't be faked. And this is how I look at the leak now in retrospective. Things did come out with that leak that could not be faked. It got extremely lucky. There was like there's images of the banner on the website that had like a cut where like little Mac is on the banner, and that's where Isaac was on the banner. And then there was like, people had screenshotted the official website with this weird glitch cut in the banner there on the official banner, and that's exactly where Isaac is on the Grinch banner. And so people were basically theorizing that maybe Isaac was supposed to be on the banner but had been cut from the direct where we got Isabelle, the direct in September. Which, I mean, I don't like talking about the earthquake tragedy and stuff and speculation and stuff like that, but obviously that was logical why they might cut someone like Isaac who uses earth magic. So Isaac potentially being cut from it, and then having that happen just was a coincidence. Then on top of that, Wendy's put out this trailer of like it's like the Smash tour bus or something like that, and an item we hadn't seen before was shown in that trailer, and it was like a little sprout. And Isaac on the Grinch Leak has vines, a very obscure thing from Golden Sun, in the image. And so people were thinking, oh man, maybe that item acts the same way as some Vine move that Isaac has. In a similar sense that like Diddy Kong has bananas, yet there's also a banana item. You know, Sakurai does that. It saves time, you know, to take a move a character has, turn it into an item as well. You know, there's just that mechanic that exists in the game in more than one way. And so there was just all this stuff that literally the leak got lucky, and it was piling up and piling up. So then like Vergeben and some other people with inside information start coming out and saying like the leak it's probably fake or whatever, or I know it's fake. It's fake because I've seen something or heard something. They weren't exactly clear. They just say no, it's fake. So I've talked to some people with behind the scenes information as well, and you know you're never sure who to trust. And I've talked to many people at that time. Lots of people were coming to me. I probably talked to at least over 10 people that seemed decently credible with what they were telling me. And so I kind of learned that behind the scenes, for sure, Incineroar was going to be in the game. This was absolutely like a sure thing. Incineroar was going to be in the game. And Incineroar was not on the Grinch Leak. Right. So what I was trying to juggle at that time was basically an unfakeable leak and insider information that was certain not matching up. And I was trying to figure out how could this possibly have come to be. Right. And outside of a bunch of amazing coincidences and someone just putting out the best leak ever, basically, and having coincidences happen, I thought it probably meant the Grinch Leak was real, and whatever information insiders had might just be outdated. And I kind of looked at it very similar to what I talked about before, the Gamatsu leak, which had characters on it that didn't come to pass, but the leak was still legitimate information. So I assumed what was happening was insiders had seen or heard Incineroar or whatever. I'll be a little vague on what exactly was known about Incineroar, but it seemed almost certain Incineroar was happening. But maybe Incineroar got pushed to DLC. So I came up with this theory, me and some other people who had inside information of what might be going on here, was that maybe Banjo-Kazooie was a late addition. And this was based on Sakurai leaving E3 early, Banjo-Kazooie having their copyright renewed in September, and maybe somehow Sakurai decided to drop down a character to DLC and push forward another character. So that was the theory of what maybe happened that I pushed out, because I was just trying to figure out how some, insiders that had essentially very convict feelings about Incineroar being in the game and a leak that couldn't be faked could add up when they didn't have the same character.
Right. Yeah, and that was crazy too, because a lot of us, truly, like you said, a lot of us is almost like, without, being like straightforward, just vague about it, a lot of us had information that Incineroar was in the game. And, I mean, it was pretty well known because Vergeben said it, but there was so many insiders who were like, well, we knew about it way back when, this is what I've seen or heard, or they had concrete information that was like, okay, with so many people saying that that's the case, there's no real denying it, but how can this Grinch leak seem so real when insiders are saying no? So I was trying to balance that. Yeah, and so that was the thing, was that, like, even that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not gonna say that it didn't. I don't want to just sound like oh yeah, but I was just so confused. Like, I saw that and I was like, there's something wrong. And then whenever your theory came out about that being a DLC, I actually was like, you know what, that actually makes sense if that's true. Because that's how this banner would be true. Honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then I was like, okay, it makes sense. But it, like you said, it was juggling everything, but just wait. Because at that time, it was literally like, by that time, everybody's information was like, we had to wait for confirmation. Because
it split the community, and it was literally just, well, what are we gonna get here? And I was trying not to I loved the characters on the banner leak. I had my two favorite characters, Geno and Banjo, in it, but I'm trying to temper my expectations, as I had just spent the whole last month pretty much thinking we're gonna get box theory, which is basically what we got. We got box theory. My thoughts on box theory was that we get Ken, Incineroar, and then the special extra character would be Geno. It turns out it's Piranha Plant. I mean, we got more DLC characters, but Piranha Plant, I think, took everybody for surprise. But that was my thought going in. I was like, maybe they'll have one final secret character, but it'll be like Geno. No, Piranha Plant. But so then the banner leak, has characters I really want. But I was trying to temper my expectations, try to be going realistic, but at the same time, it just had so much credibility and so much evidence behind it that I was like, man, I don't know how to dismiss this one, and I felt more like it's easier to dismiss insiders knowing about Incineroar than it is to dismiss all this evidence. So so I was trying to balance it in some way, and there was no way to balance Incineroar being in the game without the Grinch Leak being fake. So to try to be like, okay, let's say both people are right. That's kind of how I did it. I was like, let's say both people are right. Incineroar's in the game, but also this banner is correct. How does that work? And the only way I could think of it was Incineroar was DLC for some reason.
Yeah, that's really crazy that all this was happening too, because at the you know, whenever, like you're saying, like it was just so hard because people from the inside kept saying information, and you're like, but this banner just has so much that's going for it.
Well, that was I mean, like, and they'd come out with something like I remember Vergeben specifically. I think Emily Rogers, maybe a couple other people said like Isaac's an assist trophy, like Isaac's an assist trophy, like definitely, and then. I just saw, as soon as I heard that, I was kind of like, okay, well, let me think logically. Is there a way that this still works? And there was. There's young Isaac, there's an older Isaac, there's Matthew who looks like Isaac. So, and they weren't saying what they had seen or heard. They just said Isaac is an assist, Grinch Leak's fake. So if I don't know if they, like let's put it this way, what if their information was, I have a list of you know, the strategy guide lists the assist trophies, and my inside source is a strategy guide source. So I've seen the name Isaac on the assist trophies. Well, then I can come right back with, well, maybe it's older Isaac and younger Isaac is playable. Like, maybe this is going to be the first time this happens. Like, if I don't know all the information and I can make a logical assessment like that, I couldn't dismiss the Grinch Leak over it. Like, everything that came out against it had a more easily dismissible, logical way of, you know, brushing it aside, or how this all could be true than it was to dismiss the Grinch Leak, because the way the Grinch Leak was fake had to be coincidence, and I couldn't bet on coincidence.
Right. No, yeah, and I agree, and which kind of brings me something that that I was seeing a lot of, you know, you guys in terms of Nintendo content creators in the Smash community do, and that's apologize to the community. I mean, I like I was messaging you, I was telling you. You know, you as a content creator, you have a responsibility to, of course, your audience to, you know, make sure, you know.
Oh yeah, of course.
In terms of, you know, just entertainment, but you know, I truly believe that, you know, you along with the others, you know, kept saying that, you know, either at the beginning of the video or somewhere towards the beginning, like, hey, this is just a leak, you know, this is just speculation. So I truly believe that, you know, for the people that are giving you guys like, oh, like, you know, you gave my hope. No, like, I feel like you guys did the right thing, and you know, and just like all of us, I mean, hype is just uncontrollable sometimes. You just want to choose to believe, you know, what you really want to believe, and you know, you apologize. First of all, I mean, that's good and all that you did it, but you know, I you know, you guys have nothing to apologize in terms of, like, you know, because it's not like you were like, this is 100%, you know. Right. And so, like, I mean, that would be different. But you know, that's what I was gonna ask you. You know, what's you know, you're kind of like, why did you decide to do that?
Well, so okay, first off, like, I made the channel for fun and stuff, but as it gained a lot of following and stuff like that, then yeah, that responsibility comes through. And so, you know, while I don't want to hype something too much, at the same time, I got to be honest with my own thoughts, because that's what people want to know, is where am I at with this stuff? Right. And if I'm just looking at leaks and speculating about it and stuff like that, you know, I thought it would be more dishonest if I was telling people, you know, kind of a half-hearted, like, the Grinch Leak could be real, it could be fake, I don't know, which was, of course, always the case. But really, the more evidence that came up for it, I really couldn't make it work where it was fake, again, without it being coincidentally fake, which is what happened, which is crazy. So I had to be honest in a way that, and I said this too, I said, like, you know, it would have been safer for me to be like, I don't know about the Grinch Leak, but that wasn't me being honest about how I felt about it. So I thought it was the better road and I explained all that, I'm going to tell you why I think it's real, that I do think it's real, why I think it's real, all the evidence in its favor, why I think what's going against it is dismissible, and then, draw your own conclusions on that.
Right.
But I do want you to know where I'm actually at. I could have hidden all that and been like, Vergeben says one thing, Grinch Leak says this, who knows what we'll get, but then you're not hearing my thoughts on how you could dismiss what Vergeben's saying, how the Grinch Leak's evidence is harder to dismiss, which again turned out to be wrong, and that's tougher, but on my channel, but that was where I was at with it, so I wanted to be honest about that. And then so at the end of all things, it turns out to be fake and stuff. And I have to, apologize for hyping and stuff like that. But I try to be very clear with all that stuff I just said. I said before the leak was true or fake. I said, this is why I'm telling you my real thoughts on it. And I think that is more genuine and a better thing to do for the community than it would be to be half-hearted and phony about something just to protect my channel over getting the actual information out there. And I thought it was more important to get that information out there, my own thoughts about why it could be real and stuff out there, than it is to safeguard my channel and hold back from giving my full thoughts on it.
Right, and which is why, people, when they view, a lot of you guys and Nintendo content creators as a whole, they choose to view your video, so they want to see you. And that's something I always tell everybody, and especially people that are doing YouTube for the first time, is that honesty is just the best way to do it. And
I completely agree.
Yeah, and so you going out of your way to actually making a video like that, and I saw the whole thing, and it was just like at the same time, you have nothing to apologize for, but I definitely knew where you were coming from. And so that was the thing, is that you being honest was like really also important, that you were trying to tell your audience, like, hey, I didn't have to, like I could have, like you said, like I could have given you guys like half answers.
I could have been vague. I could have been I don't want to put all my chips in, to something that could hurt my channel, but I think it's actually better to be more genuine, even if in being genuine you might be wrong. I guess that's to sum it up. That's kind of what I'm saying here.
Yep, and then you're definitely right, and your growth on your channel, says a lot. People still want to see PapaGenos. They still want to see you, and so that's the thing. So I really like those, and also going into a little bit of Microsoft territory a little bit.
Go for it.
One thing I want to talk about is, talking about Banjo and Minecraft, because as we know right now, Microsoft has, at some point, they're gonna have some type of representation in the game. That's already kind of backed up also by Vergeben and also by the other leaker that's like that Vergeben trusts.
Hitagi. Yeah, this seems to be pretty much agreed upon by everybody that Microsoft is in some way on board with this DLC.
Right, and so I kind of want to also hear your thoughts. Even though I'll put you the videos below for what your full thoughts are on these. But what I want to know from you is, something that at least I don't think I've heard, is what you really think is going to happen in terms of Banjo and Steve, because as we know, you've publicly stated that you have a source that's a credible source, depending on because of who they are, and them talking about Banjo, right? But then we have, on the other side, we have Vergeben, who is saying that there's going to be Minecraft representation, but then you got Hitagi saying
it's definitely Steve.
Yeah. And so unless Microsoft is giving up 2 DLC characters, I mean, what's your thought of that? So knowing what you know, we want to hear you. This is exclusive right here, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to be somewhat vague a little bit. And I try not to be vague. I try to get out as much information as possible. This is one thing that I do find a little I don't know if annoying is the right word, but it's tough for me in speculation-wise when a leaker can't give as much as possible. Again, I'll point back to when Vergeben said Isaac's an assist. I didn't know if he saw that. I don't know if he heard that. And I understand why he might not be able to say more than that. But with as little information as possible, it's tougher to make assessments on things.
Right.
But I have to be a little vague just to protect sources and stuff.
No, go ahead.
I've always said it this way, and I'll continue to say it this way. I trust my source, the person I'm talking to, because of who they are. I don't think they're the type of person who would lie to me. I really believe they're trying to get information out there, and they're a very credible person. So I trust them and everything like that. However, it's a chain of information that I'm getting Banjo from. So I'm talking to a source I trust, and they're talking to a Microsoft source, and that source was the one saying Banjo for sure. Which I also heard about this during the Grinch Leak, so that was another thing that made me go, oh man, maybe the Grinch Leak might be real. Though that Microsoft source was also someone saying, but Incineroar should be in. Now, since I've never actually interacted with that Microsoft source, and it's a chain of info, I don't know exactly where they're getting that from. So I don't know if they heard Banjo, if all they heard was Nintendo and Microsoft are doing some kind of deal for Smash and they assume Banjo. I really don't know. I'm quite a way down the chain here. So I can only give out that, piece of information that someone I think is credible and not lying to me has told me that someone they trust as a source or trusted as a source or whatever, they got information from this source, told them Banjo. So again, I'm kind of removed from it, so I really can't back him that much. But again, I think it would be a disservice for me to not tell the community about this. Now, I've had many people come to me with supposed leaks and stuff like that, but most of the time when people do that, they're either anonymous or they have nothing credible. They have no credentials to their name or something like that would make me actually believe them. So I usually keep that stuff to myself as a rumor, or if people really ask about it, I'll say like, oh yeah, I've heard a rumor of that character. Someone said that might be happening. That sort of thing. Yeah. Obviously Banjo's the same way. It's just a rumor and stuff like that. But I went out of my way to actually talk about it, make a video on it and stuff like that, because the source who I'm talking to, who isn't the source who knows about Banjo for sure, just someone who heard about it and told it to me, that source I trust and think is credible, so I think they're worth paying attention to. So as far as then, Steve and Minecraft content and all that or whatever, they seem way more sure of it than I do about Banjo. Again, I don't know how my source's Microsoft source is getting Banjo, so it might be something as simple as they heard Microsoft and Nintendo made a deal for Smash. I don't know where in Microsoft they're from. I just know the source is a quote-unquote Microsoft source. So they may have just assumed Banjo. I don't know. And they're also, my source, the one that I trust, is only given information from their Microsoft source. They can't really, picket things or whatever. They just have to wait till they're given information. So I haven't heard, they haven't heard anything about Minecraft stuff. We don't know exactly where this Banjo information, why they're so sure of Banjo or why they said they were sure of Banjo. So, that's as hard as I can back it. Whereas Hitagi is saying Steve definitely, Vergeben is saying Minecraft content, and they're very strongly, convictly saying that. I have to completely concede that, me saying Banjo is not like I'm saying, I haven't seen Banjo in the game. I haven't seen proof of anything. Mm-hmm. I just have someone who I believe wouldn't lie to me telling me that they heard about Banjo. So, yeah, it's a weak case for Banjo on my side. I think Banjo has other things going for them that work out, that having the trademark renewed, right. The possibility. I know Reggie came out today and said N64 right. Classic isn't in the works or something like that, but right. Keep in mind Bill Trinan at E3 said DLC content for Smash wasn't happening yet or something like that. It's something vague. They always have to, before they announce something, they have to be vague about stuff. Right. So maybe Banjo did get a deal with Nintendo and Microsoft, but it's to use them in the N64 Classic, and this source assumed it was for Smash. I don't know. I've never talked to them. I can't even gauge, how certain they are of it. Besides what my source is saying. So, I'm more inclined to lean towards Vergeben and Hitagi and concede Banjo than to try to push it, even though it's a character I really want. I wish I could. Right. No. Seriously, yeah. Yeah, so if I get more information from my source, if they get more information from the Microsoft source, if I see something, then I'll push it harder. But until then, they sound more convict than I am. Vergeben's gotten things right. This Microsoft source, the only thing they got right was knowing that Incineroar should be there, but everybody and their mom knew that. So,
Right.
that's as hard as I can push Banjo. So that's where I'm at with all that.
All right, that's good. That's good, and it's good. And something that I'm telling a lot of Nintendo content creators like yourself is why I'm really doing this as well. Is sometimes it when you're outside of your channel and your fans are viewing you and someone else's, they see you for who you really are. Because sometimes when you click on the channel, you're seeing that person, that persona, but you see in someone else's channel, and they're like, wow, they're actually the same. You know what I mean? Like, oh wow, he's giving the same thing. And so that's kind of why I'm also trying to do this, because like, some people may not get it, but it's hard to sometimes give your opinions because they either agree with you or they'll eat you alive.
Dude, totally. And like putting up a video on your own channel too, it's like I try to be genuine. I try to be honest. Like, I keep talking about how much that is like so important to me. Because really the channel was made to try to figure out the Smash roster and just have fun with it. It was not, made to get this big at all. I was just making videos for fun to post on Smash boards. But when you film yourself for your own channel, it's like I'll film it and I'll rewatch it and be like, oh, maybe I should redo that, or I don't know if that came off the right way or something like that. So like, is it more genuine to be in like an interview setting like this? Obviously, yeah. So it's it's so hard, especially even when like I'll film something, I'll be like, did I come off genuine enough? Yeah. But then it's like genuine enough. Like if I refilm it, it's less genuine.
And which is why I was telling prior to this, like I just wanted to interview, but I didn't want to tell you anything that I was gonna ask you. That way I can have your genuine answers, and that's what I like. And your fans, hopefully when they see this, they'll understand that all you were trying to do is you're a Smash Brothers fan, period, just like the rest of us. And so you're putting out your voice out there, and anybody else can do that too, which is sometimes what I tell the other people is like all it takes is literally you don't even need a webcam recorder, your audio recorder, and that's it. Put it out there.
Do an audio recorder, play some footage, like go for it. Whatever you want to do. I mean, I put my face out there, and I just kind of did it because I don't know, I'm just kind of old school like that, I guess, and I just dropped the camera down and thought, YouTube, you film yourself. And then I watched most other Smash videos. It's like, oh, not a ton of people do it that way.
It's unique.
Yeah, exactly. And then I ended up started talking about like leaks all the time, which wasn't even really, I mean, it was kind of supposed to be, the focus was supposed to be trying to figure out the roster, which obviously has to do with leaks. But I wanted to make a lot more videos about like, my thoughts on this character, what evidence is in favor of this character and stuff like that. Just hints and stuff from Nintendo, or why they're popular, or why they should get in, stuff like that, which I've made videos like that. But then just the leak train just kept happening, and it was like, I just had to keep making videos on it, and people kept asking me to make videos on it and pushing it. So then all of a sudden my face is out there attached to leaks, which is like the most dangerous thing in the game Smash, which is like the most dangerous game to talk about leaks for, because people are so passionate about it, and it's just like, so you gotta have a chill attitude with that, or otherwise you're just gonna be like, oh geez, what did I do?
No, seriously, and that's the thing, is that like you also can't you can't also lose your cool, and I think you've done a really good job of that, because not only are you like standing back, standing firmly on what you're saying, and really telling your audience like, hey, this is what I know, this is it, but like you're also not being like, y'all are wrong, like I know everything.
It gets like that. It's like that so easily too, and it becomes like this back and forth fighting. But like, I don't know, I guess I've followed Smash speculation really closely for like a long time. Like I did it for Brawl, I did it for Smash 4. I would have probably done it for Melee had the internet been bigger back then. And Melee came out really fast after Smash 64. I'm pretty sure my extent of like getting hyped for Melee was talking about it in like the cafeteria at school and reading like Nintendo Power or something. But anyway, I've just I've seen all the speculation stuff. I've seen the leak game happen for this game before. I've seen people get passionate about characters and the fighting back and forth about who's gonna get in. So like I knew I knew what this was like.
Right.
Before I got into it, I was like, yeah, I know that game. I know how it's gonna be. I know it's gonna be rough sometimes.
No, yeah, and seriously, and it's crazy. And so, like, one thing I want to talk to you about in terms of opinion, I do believe you touched up on this a little bit, but something I brought up, and I'm not sure how much you follow like the Kingdom Hearts series and what's been said and stuff, but
I'm a big fan, and I am excited for Kingdom Hearts 3, but I don't follow it super like day to day closely. But go for it, whatever your question is.
Yeah, so basically I had made a video because like a lot of these things, you know how like the Nintendo already said, well, Sakurai told us that Nintendo's already made their, they're the ones picking the DLC characters, and
Yes.
that Sakurai, they're gonna bring it to Sakurai, and Sakurai is gonna tell them, okay, I can work with these characters or no, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, he seems to have like final veto power on the
Exactly,
character,
yes.
but Nintendo's the one making the decision.
Right, and so the thing is, obviously with Vergeben saying that he's almost basically really confident that the first one is gonna be Geno. I mean, not Geno. Sorry about that. The
Square.
first one's gonna be Square. Yeah. And so the thing is something I wanted to talk to you. Maybe you can talk a little bit about it if you have an opinion. Is I made a video, and then basically I made a video saying kind of what is leading me to think it's Sora. Here's my take on this: is that it all started because of HMK. I'm not sure if you know another Nintendo creator.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're going to talk about, because I've seen he made that video about like
Who
talking to
owns
Disney
Sora.
stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
And they told him it was legally on a standpoint it's Disney, but they always consult Nomura and Square Enix if they're gonna do anything with Kingdom Hearts. But that the ultimate question was, would they let Sora be in Smash? And Justin Scarpone, who is the vice president or the president of Nintendo of Disney Japan, told HMK that, well, it's up to Nintendo. Like, they would have to literally go up to Disney and be like, we want Sora.
Right.
And then things started trickling, like going after that. Like then we had a fan ask the one of the co-creators of Kingdom Hearts on an unverified Twitter account, which everyone thought it was fake. But then when you look at it, it's being followed by Kingdom Hearts. It's being followed by Square Enix USA, and like they wouldn't just follow. Right. And so a guy put up a picture and it said Sora splashes into Smash or something, and he asked the question, and then the guy said yes, right? And then the tweet was then deleted, and then everyone was like, well, what does that mean? Like you said, they were being vague, but the tweet was deleted because he was either yes, like they want him in Smash, or yes, he's in Smash.
Right. Yeah.
But then after that, then we had Dreamcast Guy make a video that he has a friend that's close to Square Enix, and that source told him that Square Enix is heavily thinking about bringing the Kingdom Hearts game and the series to Nintendo Switch. Now here's the thing, is that Sakurai has always stated that when he makes picks of characters, he always tries to get characters that have been on Nintendo platform. Kingdom Hearts has been on Nintendo handhelds, if you will, not really a console. But what I was talking in the video was that the Game Awards is coming up, and unless Nintendo literally started work on DLC that day they announced it, they're not gonna announce anything. But if they have something, if anything, it's that Square Enix rep. Because if Vergeben has not been, he's the most credible source we have at this time.
He's been pretty much right the whole time. Or when he's faltered, it's been very little. Like he's pretty much been right the whole time.
Right, and so
nothing major wrong he's ever gotten here.
Right, and so he said that the first one is Square Enix, right? He really thinks it's Square Enix, and that's the thing, is that the Game Awards is one day before Smash.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people saying we're gonna get something Smash or something Square. Like I've seen multiple people hinting the Game Awards are gonna announce, and that just makes so much sense. If one of the DLC characters is Square Enix character, Video Game Awards is day before Smash. Multiple people are saying, that's when we're gonna get some character announced. It feels like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and so the thing is one of my things was that I was saying in my video is that if they do honestly announce, like, let's say they announce the Kingdom Hearts series is coming to Nintendo Switch and they're porting over Kingdom Hearts 3, right?
Yeah.
then that means that Sora's probably in it. That because that's probably that was their like bargaining chip, you know, like
It would make a lot of sense to make that full deal and to pick a character that has a future, which Sakurai does usually say, you know, is one of the things he wants with the characters, how much of a future they have. Obviously, characters get in who don't seem to have any future, like Ice Climbers and stuff, but they seem more grandfathered in at this point, whereas I think the new picks usually are picked, you know, with something like that. So then, which is obviously a hit against Geno, but
right,
it is true.
That's kind of what I was getting at, was that, like, based on this information, and I'm pretty sure you're, like, what you said is already, like, a pretty good enough answer, but, like, is this new information to you, or are you, like, wow, what?
So I've pretty much followed all that. It is tough for me to say who I think the Square Enix character is. Obviously, I want Geno, and I always go into thinking, if I think it's Geno or anything like that, or anything I've heard about Geno, I try to keep my bias in check for that. And I do understand the things going against him, like his relevancy and his future and stuff like that. Things going for him, one of the biggest thing was that Sakurai wanted him, but like he said, now Nintendo's making the choices. We know that for the DLC characters. It's still possible Nintendo picks Geno based on the Smash ballot having a lot of votes or something like that, or even Sakurai suggesting him, you know, whatever it is. But it's also possible they choose someone else. If Sora did have, say, Kingdom Hearts 3 coming to Switch, if that's a true thing, that would make a lot of sense, obviously, to make one big deal like that. Sora's a big character and stuff like that. If Disney's okay with it, you know, it would be huge. It would be a really big announcement. Could totally happen. Other Square Enix characters, it could be Dragon Quest is really popular in Japan. Not super popular in the West, but as far as like a Nintendo choice, you know, if Nintendo of Japan is choosing something from Square, and maybe Goku got a lot of votes, so Akira Toriyama designed character, you know, possibly. Though it's possible they choose like Slime or something, which maybe Akira Toriyama designed, I don't know, but it doesn't have that like Goku look, you know, whatever. Kind of getting off track here. But, you know, it's a Dragon Quest character could be a possibility. And I think Hitagi has mentioned hearing a Dragon Quest character. And then another possibility that's popped up somewhat recently, though I've heard whispers of this earlier. I've heard whispers of all these characters, to be honest, was Chrono, which has the same thing. He has, you know, a Akira Toriyama design character. However, like Geno, he's an older character, but maybe they're going to do something with Chrono Trigger. I don't know. You know, I don't know what the future for Square is. So who knows if that's the character they choose. I know Dragon Quest would have a little bit of issues because it goes through, I think, so many different people. I think the composer's really stingy about the music going other places and a few other things. I'm not super knowledgeable about Dragon Quest. Obviously Kingdom Hearts has, you know, possibly issues with Disney. Not issues like Disney saying it's okay, but, you know, to get that deal through might still cost money or something, like who knows. So maybe Chrono's an easier character to get. I really don't know, but those four seem to be the four standout ones. But I don't know what we're going to get. Supposedly Vergeben has heard 7 different characters, and lots of people have told me, I've heard behind the scenes so-and-so. I've heard people say, you know, oh, Nintendo's whispering about Geno right now. But I have no idea what's true and what's not true with this. So I'm kind of just waiting this one out. And I think all those characters are totally possible. And one final thing about Chrono that's really making him like pop up recently is that Sakurai tweeted that new Smash like commercial, and he tweeted it like where it plays backwards. So it kind of had like, is that a hint towards like time travel or something? Though I'm wary of taking Sakurai stuff as hints, because there was like the Rathalos picture that might point to Isaac, but maybe it was a hint at Isaac, but it was Isaac as an assist, like Isaac's coming back. I have no idea. But Sakurai hints are always something to be a little wary about. But it was really weird that he posted that and it plays backwards. So maybe time travel? I don't know about this one. I'm so up in the air about who the Square rep could be, and I feel like everyone is. It also seems like Square, like if Vergeben's heard 7 different names, like Square is pretty notorious for putting out like a ton of names out there to try to like, you know, hide stuff. They're really big about hiding leaks. So yeah, I don't know for sure, but that's my take on all that.
No, yeah, seriously, and so like, you know, the Game Awards are coming up, so I really hope to see something. You know, if we don't get anything, alright, it wasn't the place and time, but I honestly think something's gonna be shown there. But
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we have 5 DLC characters. Sakurai said it would take like about a year to get them all out, so that would probably mean a new character every like 2 or 3 months. and we have Piranha Plant coming in February. But I wouldn't be shocked if they told us, the next character, and then we get Piranha Plant in February. March, April, May, we get whoever else it is, and then E3 happens, and maybe they release another couple DLC characters, and then we get those over the summer, and then the final batch in the fall, winter, 2019 or early 2020, something like that. So it does kind of line up that if they, have somebody to really hype the game, especially like you said, night before and everything at the Video Game Awards, they have a platform to hype for something that they don't even have to have done for another 4 months, so 4 or 5 months, whatever, however long they want to do it. Piranha Plant gives them some cushion, for when these DLC characters need to come out to keep the Smash hype rolling and stuff, just, from a marketing perspective. So yeah, I could definitely see us getting somebody then.
Yeah, it's, I'm gonna be excited for it, and yeah, because with the whole Square Enix thing and Disney, if it's true that Disney's willing to negotiate, but like you said, I mean, it literally has to do a lot, because Disney is also, if not just more stricter with their IPs, with
yeah. I mean, that's the tough thing is, even if you get Sora, can you really put a Kingdom Hearts level in the game? Can you put any of the Disney stuff at all in the game? You might not be able to. Somebody came up with this really great idea. I think it was, oh man, I forget who I was talking to, but they said they had this idea for, if Sora's in Smash, how the Keyblade, changes every, world that you go in? That the Keyblade should be a special Smash Keyblade, and instead of having, the Mickey Mouse symbol on the end of the chain, you have the Smash symbol, which would, get rid of Mickey from Sora's character itself. So if there's an issue there, and I was like, oh man, that's such a smart idea. That's totally the way to do it. It's totally the way to do it.
Shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
Nintendo, let's do it.
I don't remember if it was I don't remember if it was a comment on a YouTube thing or if it was somebody else I was talking. I don't remember who did that one. I just remember it. So sorry.
Sorry, but yeah, no, that's smart, and yeah, cause just oh man, Disney, I just because the other thing is it, people were also because something I failed to talk about in my video was something about the possibility because of getting 2 characters, because the thing is if Disney owns Sora legally like they state they do, that's a Disney character, and if we're having a Square Enix character, that could honestly be Geno.
It's totally possible we get both or 2 characters. Right. It might also be why it's so confusing behind the scenes with the Square rep. Could totally happen. I feel the same way about the Microsoft thing. I don't know if I mentioned this before when I was talking about it, but it is possible that we get Steve and Banjo. It's also possible we get if you take Katagi out of the picture and just what Vergeben said, which is Minecraft content, it's possible to get Banjo with a Minecraft stage. It's possible, Sora, if Disney is tough. I mean, there's places in Kingdom Hearts that aren't Disney places that you could, you could do as a stage, but it's possible to get Sora and we get a stage from some other series, totally possible. Also possible we have five spots, possible multiple reps from different places. Who knows? It's totally up in the air right now. So
no, yeah, that's something I was thinking about, just because we're speculating and stuff, but at the end of the day, licensing works very different. And
yes,
and
exactly.
the thing is they can get away with a lot of things, and the thing is that I honestly, just not to sound either one who gets in, I'll be happy, but I feel like Disney is really listening. They really want to do this for the fans, because one of the questions that Justin asked HMK, he said, do fans want that? Do fans really want Sora in Smash? And of course, we do, and Disney is they've dodged other fighter games because they don't want to get Sora they don't want to get Sora get kicked and cut and stuff. But the thing is,
I know what you're getting at.
But the thing is, Smash Bros is not really a finish him type of game,
right? Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's pretty especially Sakurai. I mean, like the way he's treated like Mega Man and Pac-Man. I mean, there's care put into these characters, and you know whatever Disney would say, like this is, you know, what you have to do with Sora. You can't beat it. You know, they would totally respect that. Like, you know, that would happen. So I think Disney knows Nintendo would be like that too. So
yeah, and that's the thing, that these two giants, they if anything, the only like trouble they would be is just both of them being like, don't be too careful. Like, be careful. I'm being careful. But it's crazy.
Yeah, and just on the subject of like, you know, what, like, because like obviously I want Geno. I'm a
right.
Geno fanboy or whatever. Like, it's clear and obvious stuff like that. But I'm not like delusional about it. Like, I understand his chances. I hope he gets in. And I'm also not like some people are like they'll post like comments on my videos, or they'll talk to me on Discord or message me somewhere, and they'll be like, I'm sorry, but I want Sora, or I'm sorry, but I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan. I'd love for that to happen. And I'm like I'm not mad at that. Like I like Kingdom Hearts too. I'd be like, I wouldn't be mad at another character getting in. I love Chrono Trigger. I would be blown away if Chrono got in. I like Kingdom Hearts. If Sora got in, I know it would probably make more people happy if Sora got in than if Geno got in. And I would totally concede that for that. And I'd be happy to see Sora, you know, in Smash too. I'd be pumped about that. Dragon Quest, I'm not huge on. I just haven't really played the series, but I can totally understand the Japan. I understand how big it is in Japan and everything. Right. I understand its importance to gaming. I know you talked about way at the beginning, like, does a character deserve it or not? You know, that whole thing. Like, we want to try to avoid that, and I get that too. But yeah, I mean, I understand Geno is from like one game a long time ago, and these other characters have futures, more going for them, blah blah blah, whatever you want to say. And I'm still like a big gamer. Like, I'm a huge gamer. I love all these games. So, you know, I'm happy pretty much no matter who gets in. Obviously, I have my preferences, but even if my preference is Geno, I'm also just a big Square fan. So some of these other characters, like if you didn't make these characters directly compete with each other for a spot, and you just said like, who do you want for the 5 DLC characters, I might end up with like 3 characters from Square because I like them that much. So I'd still be pumped to get some of these characters, even if it means Geno doesn't get in.
No, seriously, and I couldn't agree more. And this is why, like, it's important to talk about stuff like this, because, you know, sometimes it's just it's good that your fans are gonna know this, because, you know, it's just like, we all have preferences. That's the thing, all of us.
Yeah.
But it's not like gonna be like, oh, Geno's not in, I'm not gonna buy the game. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna throw this huge
like, that was the final straw.
I'm gonna what is it? Boycott Nintendo, and I'm so mad at that. It's like, Geno didn't get in for Brawl, he didn't get in for Smash 4, and I was still a huge fan. I'll be a huge fan. I'll understand why he didn't get in. You know, I totally get it. I hope he does. I think he has the best shot he's had in years for Smash Ultimate. So, you know, whatever. And then also, like, people are like, oh, do you hate Piranha Plant because it wasn't Geno, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I mean, I think it's a goofy character, but I actually think he looks pretty cool. And I'm not like, oh man, Piranha Plant is now the enemy of Geno, or like if Sora got in, he's now the enemy of Geno. Like, I don't see it that way at all. Like, I know the fan base likes to spin it that way, but it's really just not how I see it. I get why, like, you know, negotiations went one way and not the other way, so that character, you know, is the reason another character didn't get in or something like that. But at the same time, it's like, it doesn't mean I hate that character or something at all.
Right. And something I want to bring up about is the whole spirit picture of Geno.
The which one?
Like, people were at the beginning were saying that it was the Geno was a spirit, but
oh yeah, go for it.
It's been brought to my attention that it's not a spirit.
No, it's like an icon token for your yeah, for that arena mode. I think it's also for the, like, when you go online, you have like a little card that like represents you, and it has a picture. Now, it's totally possible Geno is a spirit. We just haven't seen it yet. Right. But yeah, what we've seen so far is just an icon token thing to represent you. So I think he's still in the running. And I think even if he was a spirit, I don't know if spirits deconfirm characters or not. I'm more inclined to think that since it appears the DLC was decided alongside the game, most likely if a character is a spirit, they don't plan to make them DLC. I mean, maybe if we get a wave 2 of DLC, they might start picking spirit characters. Maybe we will get a character that's a spirit as a DLC character as this first wave. I mean, I'm totally speculating here. But it's not a law. It's not a rule. You know, we don't know yet. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure really which way. But yeah, if the game comes out and Geno is just a token or whatever, and at the Video Game Awards we don't find out who the Square rep is or something like that. If the game comes out and we can look at all the spirits in the game and Geno's not one, I do think that bodes better for his chances than if he is a spirit. But even if he is one, it hurts the chances, but I don't know if it deconfirms his chances. So it's up in the air. It's very speculative.
Right. And so the other thing is that just having. Because like you said, like spirits don't deconfirm anything, and we can't go based off like, oh yeah, there was a spirit. But something
it's like conjecture. Whatever anybody says about that, it's their own opinion. I mean, we don't know. Right. We won't know until all the DLC's out and we know who got in and who didn't.
Yep. And so the thing that I was kind of looking into when I was looking at these spirits is that even though people are saying, oh well, Kirby's a spirit and stuff like that, what I've noticed is if the current characters is a spirit, I've noticed that they're in the art style of Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Okay.
And if in the spirits that are actual spirits, like for example, let's take the Pigma character from Star Fox. Obviously, I don't think he's gonna be in it. But
Nintendo really drops the ball with like Pigma.
The first DLC.
Pigma would actually be mad. He's a little obscure and actually like he's a character that I don't know if you play Star Fox, but man, you like grow to hate that guy.
Yeah, Pigma. There you go. And the first DLC character. And so
Pigma.
And so what's crazy is that like for example him, his art is from Star Fox Assault.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed that like all the characters that are not likely to get in are using arts from other games. And even the icons, like for example Geno, that picture is from Mario RPG.
Right.
And so something that I'm really thinking about is that like, and then when you do see the spirits, like for example the Wii Fit trainer, the face model is from Ultimate. And so like and that's something I was just looking into and paying close attention, because even when Shantae was shown as a spirit, Shantae's the Twitter, the official Twitter, they acknowledged it and they said, we're glad to be a part of Ultimate, even as a spirit. That's what they said.
Yeah, I mean, the Way Forward was dropping all these hints about Shantae for like a while there, and that was always my take on it, was especially because Shovel Knight had been shown as an assist trophy when, at one point when I was talking about this, it was, in between the August Direct and now. And so my take on it was always Way Forward might, probably is hinting at Shantae being in Smash. I have no doubt that she is, just because of how many hints they dropped. But I don't know if that means an assist trophy, a spirit now, what it was. And we've seen it's a spirit. Maybe she'll be a DLC character again. Who knows? But yeah, I have seen on the note of like characters and what form their spirit is. Daisy looks like it's an older version of Daisy. I know there's a Daisy spirit. That it's not the Smash rendered Daisy, it's an older one. So yeah, it's totally possible if Geno is a spirit. Let's just say for the sake of argument he is a spirit. If it's his Mario RPG look as a spirit, I don't they've done that with other characters. So we'll see what happens here. This is really one of those unguessable things. We don't have enough information.
Yeah, no, seriously, and that's just something I've been noticing. But yeah, like you said, I do actually remember that Daisy one. That Daisy one is literally an old render, I do believe. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, because it's gonna be Game Awards is gonna be nerve-wracking. Like everyone's just gonna be like.
The thing with the Game Awards is like, I mean, I've watched like bits and pieces of them after the fact. I've never watched them like while it happened, so I don't know how long it is or anything. I really have no idea what I'm getting into, and I kind of want to stream it in case like Geno does get announced. But I don't know. Again, I don't know how long it is. I don't know.
Yeah, they're usually like an hour long, though. Like an hour, maybe.
Okay.
It's basically your typical awards show. Like they're just going through the big nominations, and then the small ones they kind of breeze through them. Like, oh, here's the winner. Here's the winner. Here's the winner. All right, here's the big one, the best action. So yeah, definitely do wait.
Like I've watched that before, but it's always been like a few days later or something. So I wasn't sure if that was like they're cutting up the good parts or something. I don't know what it's like live or when they first released the video of it, however it works. So I was not sure, but obviously if they announce some Smash character there, I want to be filming myself for my reaction to it. I want to see it. I don't want to log on the internet that day and have somebody be like, Geno got in, and be like, I wasn't videotaping myself. That's what I found out.
Exactly. No, it's gonna be insane. But I do want to talk about, the presentation is ending, and you know how like they're showing the piranha plant. Sakurai saying we have one bonus to show y'all.
Yes.
And then it starts with the Yoshi's being all dizzy and Luigi.
Yes.
What was your exact thought? Like I saw your like little reaction. And, like was your heart racing? I was like just imagining like, oh my god, poor guy.
To be totally honest, because he already talked about the DLC characters at that point, right? He already talked about the 5 DLC packs, I think. Yeah. So I had actually kind of buried the idea that whatever he was talking about was a character. I actually didn't think it was a character.
Oh.
So looking back on it, like I probably should have been like, "Oh man, Mario!" Oh man, they're gonna Geno, and I'd already been like, "Okay, we got 5 DLC characters. I'll just have to wait it out for Geno there." And then when that happened, I wasn't even thinking character, and I think Piranha Plant like attacks Mario. I think even the splash of like Piranha Plant pipes up, and I was like, "What is this? What is this?" And it was like seconds later that I was like, "Oh, this is a character." Like, it really caught me by surprise. I really did not even. I totally upon rewatching it, I totally get why my mind probably should have been like, a Mario character? Oh my god, stars around people's heads.
Yeah, like,
oh man, it's gonna happen. But that's not even where my mind went at all.
Like, yeah, I was seriously like, oh my god. It's like when I first was seeing it, I was like, oh my god, they really are gonna put Geno in. It's all planned. Like, no, dude, what? But it's really
on that note though, like in retrospect of looking at that they had stars around people's heads and it's Mario, it does feel like he's teasing Geno.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe that was supposed to be like a bait and switch. I mean, he did the thing where it's like, oh, here's K. Rool. No, it's just Dedede, and he's laughing at us, and then K. Rool swipes Dedede away. Like, this might be a long con of like, oh man, you're gonna get Geno. No, it's Piranha Plant, and then the next DLC character is in fact
Geno.
Like, I don't know. We'll see.
No, yeah, and so like it's because that's true actually. That would be crazy just waiting all this hype and hyping everybody up, and then boom, Geno. All right, there we go.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I'm gonna be happy no matter what. I think the game looks amazing, so I'm trying to just temper my expectations through the DLC process, but it's always hard.
And so they show, and then they end with Lifelike. What's your opinion on that?
They end with what? Sorry.
With Lifelike. Oh, World of Light. Lifelike. The song.
Oh, World of Light. Okay, yeah, World of Light. Okay. Yeah, no, it looks cool. I mean, I like Subspace Emissary and Brawl. I mean, it's been so long since I played it. One player mode's always pretty fun in Smash. I mean, it's something that I play like once when the game first comes out. I usually enjoy that sort of thing. But then I play Smash for years later, and I never really touch it. Looks like some cool event mode. I like the map and stuff. Hopefully it does a lot of throwbacks to like all these different games and series and stuff. I think the animation looks cool. Looks like there's going to be other CGI trailers, and I know a lot of people are pushing for like another Subspace. So, yeah, I think it's cool. Kirby was the character I played as in 64, so I love the fact that Kirby's like the sole surviving character. Like, I definitely think that's cool. So I'm excited for it, but it's not like the most hype thing for me personally.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be fun. I am excited for a cool one-player mode like that.
Man, that's really cool. And so before we end this interview, do you want to give your followers and any new fans, just a quick statement in terms of, outside of your channel, like I was saying, something you just really want to tell people? Don't cry. No, I'm just kidding. But just anything if you'd like to.
Gee, I mean, I was not prepared for that question. So I don't know if I have anything like that. I will say, I'll just say this. I'll say thank you to all my fans and people who have subscribed and watched my videos, and have, enjoyed everything and stuff like that. I love giving my opinion about this stuff. I love that people want to hear my opinion about this stuff. I love talking about Smash. It's been really cool just being able to go on Discord or Smashboards or some other forums or my YouTube comments, stuff like that, and just talk with people and have people get like excited to talk Smash back and forth with me and stuff like that, or do an interview like this. I love doing that or whatever. So the fact the channel has allowed me to have that experience with the whole community and stuff like that has just been amazing. So seriously, sincerely thank all my fans for just putting me in that position now, where we're just talking about Smash and I'm sure once Smash comes out, I'll be able to play with a lot of my fans and stuff like that, and then it's online and everything. So all of those, just making Smash that awesome experience, making this something that I can concentrate on and focus on and do something I did for fun is now something I can really focus on as something that's I don't know, more of a, I don't want to say like career, but it's a YouTube. I have a YouTube side of my life now, and that's awesome. So thank you so much to my fans for that. That's my statement to my fans, I guess.
So beautiful. No, and that's awesome to hear, man. Because, like I said, I just want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to say something, especially outside of their channels. I just feel like it's cool. Because, like, when I see people outside of the channels, I honestly see them as people. Because, obviously
right.
I'm watching you in your channel, but I'm also being like, well, this is your channel, so you have to have, professionalism and kind of be like Papa Geno.
yeah. There's a persona there. There's a professionalism. There's this like, okay, I got to make the videos like this. I can't, or it feels like there's a certain amount of like, I don't want to, like what I just said about all the fans and stuff like that. Like if I just came out with a bunch of videos constantly thanking people, it's like, all right, we get it. It's hard to do that. But outside of the channel, when you're asked about it in like an interview, you could do that sort of thing. So, it's there's certain things that are tough to say when you're the one making the content yourself, kind of thing.
And so, Papa Geno, before we head out, where can we find you? Social media is everything.
So you can obviously my YouTube channel, PapaGenos, is like my main hub for everything. I'm also on Twitter as @GenosPapa. I have a Discord server, and if you want to get to that, I think probably the best way is to go over to my YouTube and I have links to most of my stuff on that. It's again kind of my hub. I'm also over on Smashboards as PapaGenos. That's where it all started. Like I made the name PapaGenos way back before Brawl and stuff is just my username there. So if you ever want to interact with me on Smashboards, that works too. Twitter is probably the best way to converse, or the Discord channel directly. But yeah, those are my main places to reach me.
Alrighty, and for the fans that are watching, the 2 fans that came to watch my videos, you guys make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and go ahead and send some Papa Geno some love. You guys already probably know him. And of course, stay tuned for future interviews for other Nintendo content creators. And you guys have a great day.